All right, everyone. Welcome into another episode of Pick and Troll. Give me one moment here while I go ahead and share the link for the stream. That way we can have some viewers participate along with us.
Why isn't the Twitter tweeting it?
Yeah, it's not tweeting. And we're not live on Periscope.
There we go.
I just tweeted it. Cool. Skin the rabbit, skin. Excellent. So just about going live here. Obviously a very busy Sunday, week 13, week 14 NFL, whatever it is. You got a full slate of college basketball as well. So a lot going on. Appreciate everyone who is joining in with us. All right. Go ahead and get it started for episode number 4 of Pick and Troll. I am Jordan here with Rex. We'll be breaking down today's college basketball slate. So we got a lot going on today, full slate, some pretty decent games. Rex, you want to give a welcome?
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? As usual, Pick and Troll brought to you by The Breakdown Sports. Check out our website, thebreakdownsports.com, and follow us on Twitter at BRKDWN_sports. We got a lot of fantasy football content out there for you. If you need any last-minute advice changes, hit up our fantasy football analyst. You can find them on our Twitter. They hit them up with any last-minute questions. But today, we got a good college b-ball slate coming at you. As usual, we're going to troll some teams. When you think of us trolling, just think of Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny saying you got to pay the troll toll. That's what we like to envision when we're getting on the teams. And we'll get personal because if you were here yesterday, you can guess who it is. Anyone who hits it up in the comment, we'll give you a retweet or something if you can guess who we're trolling today.
Yeah, absolutely. Today is a good slate. Real quickly looking at the KenPom schedule. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games, 11 games featuring teams all in the top 100 of the KenPom rankings. So pretty good college basketball. Go along with a full NFL slate for today. Quick recap of what happened yesterday in the college basketball world. Kansas was on upset alert. I'm sure everyone got the ESPN, the Apple notifications, FanScore, all the apps were letting everyone know that KU is on upset alert. They did end up pulling it out against the North Dakota State Bison. Shout out Carson Wentz. But yeah, Kansas was able to pull that one out. Second headline for yesterday was Houston's performance against South Carolina. Houston was playing without Caleb Mills, Marcus Sasser, and they were playing without head coach Kelvin Sampson. So that was an interesting one. Rex and I really got our sweat on with that as we had recommended and played the -9.5. Line moved down to like -8.5, but obviously we covered. Never in doubt. I think they won by 10 points. So right on the seat of our pants there. Next thing I will jump into, since there is no major upsets or any other noteworthy news, is going to be our ballers of the night. We'll have this out a couple times a week when we need to fill up some time here on the stream. The 3 that I am taking from last night's performance, you have Isaiah Ross from Iona, put up 33.7 rebounds and 3 assists versus Hofstra. My dogs are going nuts. We have Tevin Brown from Murray State, who scored 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. He was the closest player to a triple-double. He did that in a game against Illinois State. And then balling when it doesn't matter. This is a player who balled out for his team, but their team still lost. Interesting game as this was the Oklahoma State Oakland game. And Cade Cunningham was not the high scorer. He was the high scorer on his team, but for Oakland, Rashad Williams put up 32 points in a loss. So shout out to Rashad Williams. Your team sucks, but hey, you're still getting buckets.
Yeah, with Cade Cunningham, I've been very disappointed, or he's been underwhelming so far in this season.
Yeah, he really has.
Yeah, one thing with OK State is no postseason, nothing to play for. Their center Yanni transferred out, so that's where with this OK State team, I think it's just going to be a lot of the Cade Cunningham show. That's just going to be a lot of solo ISO ball efforts. And then the huge result that I saw yesterday was St. Louis won by, I think, over 50 or 60 points. They're listed as minus 35 on the spread. They're winning by 45 at half. That was never in doubt. So that was just a huge blowout where SLU just gave it to Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, that's so funny. I actually keyed in on that game as well. They won by 51 points. What was shocking to me is that St. Louis had no one score over 15 points. They had multiple bench guys with 10 points, and then each of their starters had between 10 and 15 points. So I just thought that was funny. Such like a team performance to put up 107 points. Normally, you're going to see it a little bit more front-loaded with one player carrying the brunt of that, putting up 20, 25, 30. But that is all that we have. Any other recaps or news for you from yesterday's slate?
Nah, nothing too notable.
Cool. So go ahead and breaking down the model performance yesterday. We went 12-10 with the projections, 7-5 for projections that were 2.5 points or higher. Pardon the noise. My dogs are losing their mind as someone comes into the house. Overall, the model is 113, 97, and 7, which is 53.8% against the spread. And multi-point edges are 53, 38, and 2, which is about a 58% percentage there.
Yeah, with the model, it's kind of been, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a rough patch. Like, if you can get a model that's consistently performing over 50% and over 53% usually, it's steady. Sometimes with this season, it's probably the hardest one to set up a model and figure out if it's going to be worth it or long run, just because of the COVID, everything happening, like Sasser and Sampson. That's something that you can't really account for in a model unless you make a manual override.
Right now,
so yeah, this is where the model, the first season with it being a COVID season, is really going to put it to the bones. And I'm still happy with the results that it's churning out, being at 53% for over 1 point and being at 58% for the multi-point edges over 2.5. I think that's helpful, but like we said, you got to take those and hold your nose sometimes if you want to back Stetson.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Stetson actually plays today against another Florida team. I think are they playing University of Florida?
No, yeah, they are, and they're another 2.5 point model edge that I will be ignoring. They only lost by a point covering to the U, so they could be right there, right around the same point number. I just don't want to be putting my money behind Stetson against top 50 team.
Yeah, that's one of those schools you don't really know exists. I happen to know like one person from high school who ended up going to school there. Otherwise, I would not have known where Stetson was. But enough of the recap. Let's go ahead and get into today's slate. As I mentioned, there are a number of marquee matchups. I actually am going to take a look at one of those. We will be looking at Villanova in Texas, featuring two top 25 teams. Seems like there's been lots of speculation, lots of things going on with this game. Looks like early on, Texas was an underdog. Now it's kind of that is at a pick'em. So I am taking, my projection here is Texas there, -1. A little bit over even money there. Projected to be with the model, Texas -3. What I like in this matchup for Texas is that their defense is going to be able to challenge Villanova's ability from the three-point line. You have two highly efficient teams, two of the most well-known teams right now in college basketball. Villanova obviously had that letdown game against Virginia Tech where they were upset in overtime. However, they're going to come out against Texas. They're going to be playing very well. I just like Texas with a slight edge here. Obviously, Jay Wright dresses very well, but unfortunately, I think that the afro of Bo Rat on the sideline will be able to take this one out. I think that this game will be decided from the stripe where Texas has a tendency to foul. I believe that's what I saw. Pull that up real quick.
Yeah, they do. They let the opponent get to the free throw rate pretty often.
Yeah, so that's something to watch out for. Whereas on the other hand, Villanova does not foul. Texas gets the line a lot, but Villanova typically does not foul. So that's something to watch out for. And then just who's going to win the 3-point battle. Both teams are pretty decent at shooting the three, but both teams are solid at defending the three. So that'll be where the game will be won, the 3-point line, as well as free throws going down the stretch. So going to be a tight game. Obviously, two of the top teams in the nation. You got any feel on this game?
Yeah, with the line being at a pick 'em and the model showing the edge to Texas, I mean, I just think in this game, I don't have any strong feel either way who's going to come out. I think I can see it going either way. So that's where potentially I'm just going to stay off the game pregame, maybe jump into a live line. But the total was the thing that I found the most interesting here because it opened at like 133. And given how well both of these teams' defenses are, Texas is 5th overall in defensive efficiency, Nova's top 25. So that's where like maybe this goes to the under because 133 is pretty low, but I think we're going to see long possessions with both of these teams. Neither of them like to push it with pace, but we've seen the over jump up by 4 points right now. So I think it's sitting right around 136, 137. But this is where both of these teams love the three ball. And if these guys just get hot, it doesn't matter what type the tempo is. So this is where I think it's just going to be a sit back, relax, enjoy for me, root for Texas personally and for the model wise. But I don't know. I just think the better coaching with Jay Wright is what's keeping me off this game from Shaka Smart because Shaka has the more well-rounded team, I would say, which is probably a hotter take to say than Villanova. But James Robinson Earl might be the best player in the entire game, though, for today because I really like the potential of JRE. So that's where even though Texas does have the bigs, Nova only has one, but I think he might be the best one on the court.
Yeah, I agree with that. And obviously, Jay Wright has the pedigree of winning a national championship, something that Shaka Smart never did at VCU and has yet to really live up to his full potential at Texas. I know a lot of people were saying that coronavirus actually saved his job, as he likely would have been on the chopping block if Texas made an early exit last season. But yeah, I mean, you have people who are extremely high on this Texas team, like Bart Torvik. I think he had them number 1 preseason, whereas Ken Pom and Haslam, they have them a bit more around the 10 seat, which is where I think they actually are.
No, it's a must-watch game. If you don't have much NFL interest or you got the computer screen up with it, this is definitely the 1 p.m. game to watch.
Yep, I would agree. You want to take it away for one of yours?
Yes, sir. So I'll probably give out the play that you might have influenced me the most on, but I was high on this team coming in. I can't probably say the word here, but I just laid off playing them against Oregon because I didn't have a big enough cojones there in the first game. But this Mizzou Tigers team, they were just legit, and they're going up against the Shockers here. And Wichita State without Marshall. Jordan let me know that they have 8 guys on the roster that are currently playing, so they have an extremely small bench. And if they even have other guys come in, they're just going to be true freshmen. So that's where the pedigree of Wichita State and the projections just seem to be too high on them when they've played one game against Oral Roberts so far. Yeah. I just think it's a matter of time until they start moving in the direction that they should be heading. Mizzou's already pretty solidly high up there. They have them we like them as like a top 50 team. They're returning everybody. They're playing juniors and seniors all around the court. And just the way that they're able to dismantle an Oregon team, even though it's their first one, they didn't have any issues breaking through a zone, breaking through man. So Oregon threw the whole house at them. With Wichita State, Mizzou can get these guys into foul trouble. And if you only have a 3-man bench, this is where laying -4 at -105 on the road is a little questionable here. Our model does like Wichita State to cover, but I just think that's because Wichita State is too overranked in some of the stats and data that we gather from.
Yep. Yeah. So I had seen that Wichita State is playing with 8 guys, only 7 with scholarships. So they have 1 walk-on player playing who I assume will be contributing major minutes. When you only have 8 players, there's only so many rotations you can do. I think that presents a lot of challenges against a upper class team like Missouri. Because of where our projection was and kind of what we had seen, I chose to lay off it. But if I were to take a side, it would certainly be Missouri. The teams are pretty evenly matched. As far as Wichita State, they really played down to Oral Roberts in that first game. So I think they're going to be a team that will come into their own down the stretch, as these kind of premier mid majors typically do. And I think you're going to need a couple more guys to come back. I don't know what the injury issues or if it's coronavirus or what's going on with Wichita State, but having only 8 guys, only having a 3-man bench is certainly concerning.
Yeah, Mizzou's defense is where, I mean, they're 46th in offensive efficiency, 40th in defensive efficiency. So that's where I just think they lock them down on defense, hopefully hold them to 60 or less. And all we need to do is get 65 at that point. But I think this Mizzou squad's capable of putting up 70 plus.
Yeah, I agree. Next one that I will go over to is the other one where it is only I betting this one. Going back to the well here with the Florida Panthers. FIU, I really like. This is the second game of a back-to-back. They play Jacksonville State. They played them today's Sunday, so they played them Friday. They won by 4. Rex and I were holding -4.5, so really hurt. I am so bullish on this FIU team. They play extremely fast. I think they're top 50 in any metric you look at as far as their tempo. They are elite from 3-point. They're top 5 in the nation in attempts, and they're like top 6 in makes. They're shooting, I think, let's see. I know Bart has raw numbers. They're shooting 37% from, nope, wrong team. They're shooting 36.5% from behind the 3-point line. They play quick, real fast. When they are shooting twos, it's layups and dunks. They are scoring on the fast break often. I think that they're just going to overmatch Jacksonville State. Last game was their lowest amount of 3 points made. They made 9. They put up 18 the other day. I can't remember what game we were watching, but they are really, really good from deep. And they just have a lot of edges in this game. When you look at it from an analytical sense, FIU has virtually every advantage over Jacksonville State. The only place that Jacksonville State could really challenge them is that they have early on this season in the coming out of the Ohio Valley Conference, they've done really well at defending the 3. Just outside the top 50 in how they would defend the 3 against an average team. So that could play a piece there, but I just really like the way that FIU is playing so far this season, and I'm going to take them again. Projection for what we see has it as FIU -7. I don't know if I would play that all the way up to -6, -6.5. That seems a little far for me, but at -3.5, that's certainly a solid bet there. I also think that FIU is going to score a lot in this game, so I like the team total over. Projection has them at 75.5, whereas the market has the number available at 73.5 and 74. So I got 2 on that one that I'm recommending for my picks.
Yeah, it's really hurting me to lay off this FIU side here. And this is a strange scenario where they're playing Jacksonville State back-to-back at home with a day rest when they're not conference opponents. So I think this was just something to schedule games up to get more in there. And FIU should have covered the -4 in the last game. This Jacksonville State, just even though they got down 12 at one point, they hung tough. They just stuck with them. And I don't know. FIU should blow them out of the water here. You figured out what happened the last game. You saw when you got down by 6 with 4 minutes left. That was just scary. So I'm maybe thinking too much of the one results because the numbers, the efficiencies, everything's just saying 3.5 is way too short for this FIU team. But just to distract you for a second, FIU's next game is North Florida.
Oh, boy. Osprey gang. We'll see. That'll be a fun one, actually. Are they in the same conference?
North Florida.
Conference play?
No, it's not conference play yet.
Okay. All right. That is funny. I did not know that they were facing off already.
Yeah, but this is where everything says it. If maybe FIU got their worst offensive game out there, letting Jacksonville State get to 70 was maybe a little bit more concerning, but their 4 prior games, they broke 82. Look for them to break 80 here again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that one, which is why I'm taking the over 73.5. So we will see that. I just pulled up my phone. I'd hit up my dad to see if he wanted to watch the Patriots. Patriots play at 4:30 today, and he's going to the casino. So understand.
Pivotal game for playoff implications,
It is.
isn't it?
It absolutely is. Yeah.
All right. So another game where second game that I have personal play, then me and Jordan for our last play share this one. So with this game, I wouldn't say I'm going against the model too hard. They kind of have it lined exactly where it is. Their model has it at minus 6.25. I'm playing Kentucky at minus 6.5. Laying points on the road here. So wish me luck because that's never fun to do. But we trolled this team a little bit on the last stream. Georgia Tech, Passner and their squad just not showing any good signs of life. Kentucky coming off back-to-back losses, sitting at 1-2. I just think this is where we see the Cats show out with their better caliber, just all-out better squad. They need a resounding win. They're shooting 3 for 31 from 3. If Georgia State and Mercer are hitting threes against Georgia Tech, Kentucky, if you can't hit threes this game, then it might just not be your year. So I just think this is their get right, just win by double digits, no sweat. Coach Cal just going to give it to them because it's an ACC win technically. So bump up your resume even though you're playing probably one of the bottom teams in there. So this is where it's, numbers can have it right around where it is. Both teams play kind of slow, but Kentucky's just a much better offensive and defensive team. Kentucky has the 10th best efficient defense. Georgia Tech's at 102. So that's where you have your biggest disadvantage. Kentucky's offense has been shitty so far. Georgia Tech's defense isn't anything to write home. So just a get right game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you got to assume at some point they do have to get right. This is Kentucky. They are blue blood. And yeah, going to play against Georgia Tech, who has a loss against Mercer and Georgia Southern, right? Yeah. Georgia State. I think that is, like you said, a get-right spot for Kentucky. Hopefully they're able to start hitting some threes. That's really been a challenge for them the last few games. So keep an eye on that. That is certainly something to watch. Who knows how much that game against St. Louis, where they really, really struggled, was just St. Louis. Was it St. Louis?
Richmond.
No, Richmond. The other A10 school. Who knows if that's just the Richmond solid defense play. I don't find that Georgia Tech is going to play quite as well on defense. They might defend the three well, but that's really all they do, that they have an edge on the defensive side of things. And I just think that if Kentucky starts rolling, Georgia Tech's going to have a real hard time trying to come back in this one. So I like your side, and I think that is fair and a good reason to go against the model.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking, maybe more big brain, but like if I know college football has this, it's really not available for college basketball, but like look at headlines. Like after the first games of each of these squads, this line probably would have been at like a -9 or a -10. So that's where probably -8 in Rex's brain. That's the fair line for this. So that's where I'm thinking I'm getting some points with the -6.5.
All right. And for a second, I thought you were taking a -8, and I was wondering what you were doing to sell 1.5 points and what you were getting that at. But all right. Last one that we have is Buffalo, I believe, right? We
yes,
talked about
sir.
Buffalo and Bowling Green.
I'll let you, not the Bills.
Correct. Yes, the Buffalo Bulls. I will let you kick this one off as you kind of talked me into buying this one. I think that the way you broke it down is fairly good.
All right. So you guys ready for some action already? So we all love the action in college football. We already got action conference play with Buffalo at Bowling Green. So this is where Bowling Green is 2.5 point favorites. And in this matchup, it seems like a strange line where they seem to be attributing some home court advantage, in my opinion, to this Bowling Green side. Yeah, they're 3-1. They've played some decent matches so far, but Buffalo just holds the edges and the advanced stats on the offensive and defensive side, where Bowling Green and Buffalo, they're both going to go. Buffalo plays at the 5th fastest pace. Bowling Green plays at the 61st fastest pace. The biggest difference in this matchup is Buffalo's defensive efficiency is ranked 108. Bowling Green's defensive efficiency is ranked 296. So when you're playing at both of those type of paces and Bowling Green wants to play fast, the most toughest defense to play is transition D. So that's where if you're already at the 296th, you're going to put yourself at that much disadvantage and that many opportunities for Buffalo to run in the court. And they got some ballers. They're not as good as James Patterson, who scores 8 touchdowns for fun in college football. But these guys, they definitely have the capability to put up 80 in this type of game where Bowling Green, I think – I just don't know why they're favorites. Some stats have them as dogs, but with Buffalo, I mean, I don't think there's – maybe it's fishy. I like them to win outright. Plus 120 is tempting, but haven't hit the best of luck with my hungry dog yet. But this is where I think we do it. And no efficient defense going against the fifth fastest offense. This is where I think Buffalo just stampedes them.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, is that a little animal reference? Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like Buffalo, and for all the things that you said, I think another area where Bowling Green, the one thing that they do pretty well is shoot the three, but Buffalo is able to prevent that. They do have some very solid perimeter defense. They should be able to defend the three well in this game. I do like them as a slight dog here. I like your the way you broke it down to talk about the way that they contrast each other when Buffalo has the ball and we have Bowling Green literally on their heels, backpedaling, trying to just stay in front of any of these Bulls players. I think that this one should be one where Buffalo is able to win outright. They are the better team. Buffalo typically does better in the MAC as well. This is their coach's, I want to say it's his 3rd season with Buffalo.
Correct.
They've got some continuity under him. They've been running this fast-paced offense for a few seasons now. I think that the players are really bought in, and I like the angle that we laid out. I just don't think that Bowling Green will be able to stop that offense at all. And although they're going to be able to put up some points on the offensive side of the board, I don't think that the defense will be able to hold a candle to Buffalo's tempo.
Yeah, and it's strange where if you're laying 2.5, there's no fans, or if there are fans in Bowling Green, where you might have like 500 people show up. Buffalo from KenPom is at 130. Bowling Green's at 162. So that's just where I don't know what Vegas, what the bookmakers or what they're thinking, because Bowling Green's played 4, Buffalo's played 2. No one from Buffalo that we've seen is missing, but we've seen Sampson and Souser like yesterday get ruled out late. Yeah. So maybe they have some edge there, but this is where all signs just point to Buffalo.
Yep, and I did see Bowling Green is allowing, I think, 15% capacity, so that's going to be like 37 people in attendance. That'd be like you tune on some of these ESPN Plus games, and you can't even tell there are people in the stands until they pan up a little bit, and you see them starting at like the 15th row. You see 3 people, so certainly not going to be any type of atmosphere here. I think that Bowling Green is getting some home court advantage when, at this point, unless the team's playing at altitude, or I don't know, there's going to be some team at some point in some conference that's going to allow full participation from fans. But at this time, I really don't think there's any edge as far as home court advantage in college basketball.
Yeah, I guess the only thing you can really see is if you go to Bart Torvik and look at his RPRG, which is kind of basically what he attributes, I guess, players to the spread / how their overall weight to the squad. And they got 4 guys that are performing pretty well right now and getting significant amount of their minutes. Bowling Green runs a short bench.
That they do. We did no comments regarding any picks or games or anything like that. If you do have any, please go ahead and drop those into the comments or tag us on Twitter. we'll be able to check those out. We did have a question referring to whether I was underwater or not. I am not underwater. I am in my bedroom. My dogs were going nuts, so the sound quality was awfully shitty for a few minutes there at the beginning of the stream, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, yesterday we got the Lamar Air Force question where Air Force ended up drubbing them, so we saw that fishy line made sense.
Yeah, they really did just put it on. But Air Force, it was a low-scoring game. The final was under 100, I believe.
Yeah, Lamar was just like, no offense today. We're not feeling like it.
I want to pull that up real quick to see the final score. 59-44. Yeah, that's an ugly game. And that's something to look at with Air Force is playing at home in Colorado Springs, and teams aren't used to that type of altitude. Are they just going to really struggle to put any semblance of offense together? Are they going to be gassed, with the altitude? So that's something that we'll have to pay attention to down the stretch.
Yeah, that was a lock under. If you bet that under, congrats to you. Show us that ticket at Breakdown Sports.
Yeah, doesn't matter what the number was. There's no way that it was like 105. So I'm sure that that worked out well in favor for anyone who took that angle.
All right, time for you to get your troll on, Jordan. This one's a little personal. No one guessed it, so let's get into roasting them.
Yeah, so only troll that I have, one that I dropped into the doc that Rex and I try and throw together, is Kansas State. What is going on with Kansas State? Bruce Weber seems to have lost his way, lost his touch there with the team that he has under him, because they are not doing anything. They got blown out by a UNLV team who has made all of their opponents look great. They couldn't do anything. As far as I looked at it, and it wasn't like they got a ton of Kansas State got a ton of offensive rebounds. They couldn't score. They weren't getting any second chance buckets. They're making stupid fouls. It was a very, very ugly game. And unfortunately, I stuck around to watch most of it. I don't know why. I expected that Kansas State eventually was going to become Kansas State again, but it's looking like this is not their year. This could be the farewell tour for Bruce Weber with this K-State team, and there's not much to like about them. I don't find any reason to tune into any of their games. When they play Iowa State in a week, and they are going to get killed. They're playing Baylor right after that. This is going to be a long season. If you are a K-State alum or K-State fan, this is certainly not the year that they are going to be making any noise.
Yeah, the game against Milwaukee next week becomes questionable. Are you going to potentially lose that game? The biggest thing I saw with this team is it was their worst offensive showing of the entire season. And they played UMKC, so congrats on beating them by 4. But UNLV's defense isn't much stronger than that. And 15 for 37 from 2, 7 for 24 from 3. Just didn't get to the line that great as well. They allowed UNLV. We said they didn't have any big guys, so we got to see how they guarded the outside. They let them shoot 12 for 27 from 3. When you're going to give up 5 less threes and only put up 58 points, you can't really ask to win. I don't think they ever led in the game. They're -2 favorites there, so even moved to -3. So that nice point of CLV we got, we could probably eat it for breakfast this morning. A little salty, but just didn't play defense whatsoever yesterday.
I don't understand how a team can have 15 offensive rebounds and score 58 points.
Where is their second chance points rate on Haslam? Because that's probably going to be the lowest of all of D5 or D1 teams.
I can pull that up.
They didn't have high expectations.
200.
Yeah. That's where you're getting a bunch of those shots and a bunch of those chances and not contributing anything to it to help you out.
They are 250th in field goal percentage.
And they're the 47th best team in offensive rebounding percentage. So they're getting them. They're just not finishing them.
How do you miss from – and they don't – and even worse is they don't make free throws. They're like a 70% free throw team. So all you have to do is hack them. It doesn't matter. They're not going to make the layup. They're not going to make it from close proximity. They're not going to hit a 3. They're not going to hit it. They can't score. they really cannot score. And it's like kind of sad to see how far they've fallen over 5 years. I mean, they were still an elite team in fairly recent memory.
Yeah, it's just a shame before that Nigel Pack. He was their lone bright spot, their point guard, freshman. He was a decent recruit as well. I doubt he stays here. He'll probably be looking to get a transfer after this season. But Pack, he showed out yesterday. Got to shout him out because if we are going to dunk on the team, I at least have to shout out the one guy who's trying, playing well. 11 for 21 on 3 on the season, shooting 53% from deep. So hopefully he keeps going. He assists the ball pretty well, like him, but rest of the team don't like you.
Yeah, I'm with you. 3 years ago, they made the Elite Eight, and now they just lost to UNLV by 10, and they have not shown anything. So 3 years, really life comes at you fast when you are in the Big 12 and you're just not able to pull in the talents that, your rival Kansas team, Baylor, West Virginia, basically anyone you name in the Big 12, seems like they are not pulling in the recruits that the other players or the other teams are.
All right, quick, fun over-under. We weren't planning to do this, Jordan, but we'll track it on the sheet. Maybe we'll pick out some fun ones here. There's 18 Big 12 conference games. Granted, they play all of them or whatever. How many wins do they get? Do you want to put the line at 5, or do we want to give a number out and then see whoever gets it closer?
I mean, I think setting it at 5.5 is kind of probably right on the money.
All right, I'm taking the under.
All right. I have no problem with, let me pull up the Big 12 real quick, see if I even think there's a shot at them.
Who are they going to be favored against? That's my thing, is TCU,
Touché.
Texas A&M maybe, Iowa State maybe. I mean, it's college basketball. Whoever's a good coach, he should be able to figure some things out. But the Big 12, I think, is a gauntlet this year. And I really like the top 4 or 5 teams with Texas, West Virginia, Baylor, and Kansas, and Texas Tech. Like, that is not fun. I think all those teams are live dogs come late March. So that's where the Big 12, everyone's talking up the Big 10 as the best conference. I'm still sticking my flag. I did it in College Game Breakers that the Big 12 is the conference this year.
I mean, Big 12 is, 6 top 25 teams or teams that should be within the top 25. Oklahoma State's kind of a letdown this year.
They can't even make the tourney. So
it doesn't matter. But yeah, no, they might pick up a win or two against TCU or Iowa State. Like, that's really it. Yeah.
All right. So I don't think there's any official lines out there. I don't think we can bet on conference wins, but Jordan and Rex are locking in under 5 or 5.5, whatever one you want to give us fans.
Let's do 5. Give me a little room here.
All right. Under 5.
All right, cool. I'll take the over 5 then. Yeah, it's going to be a long season for Wildcat fans. So looks like I'll now be one of them. I just pulled up BART projections. They are projected to go 2-16 in conference play. Or sorry, Ken Palm. Sick.
Maybe 5 is a little generous then.
Yeah.
All right, so
4.5.
4.5. I'll take the under.
All right.
Let's recap our best bets real quick. You can always check them out on Twitter when we tweet them out as well. We'll tweet it out with the stream. Game start in 15 minutes. Football game starts in 15 minutes, so it seems like a good time to wrap up.
Set your fantasy lineups. Don't forget that. What I have today, Texas, 1-point favorite. I have Buffalo, shared play with Rex there, 2.5-point dogs. We have FIU, 3.5-point favorites, and FIU to score a whole lot of buckets, over 73.5 points.
Yep, Buffalo 2.5, Kentucky laying 6.5, and Mizzou laying 4.
All right, that's all I got for today. You got anything else before we let everyone take off?
Nah, just that I'm going to have my ass on the couch. I'll have Red Zone up on the TV. I'll have my Xbox with the multicast for however many college basketball games I can get up. It's going to be overload content day today.
Yeah, it really is. It's going to be sensory overload. But that's all for Rex and I. This is episode 4 of Pick and Troll. Make sure you follow us along on Twitter and Instagram at breakdownbrkdwn_sports. Search for us on Facebook, The Breakdown Sports, and check out our website. Tons of content up there as we are rolling a little bit closer towards. We got baseball season around the corner. We got hockey season, NBA season, and we're right in the thick of college basketball and NFL. So keep an eye on those, keeping tabs on international soccer as well. So be sure to check us out. That's all I've got for today. Hope everyone has a good Sunday. Hope you enjoy the NFL games. Hopefully the Jets go 0-16 this year, because that will be great.
Yep. Have a good one, everyone. I don't think I have to worry about my birds today, but knowing today it's the one they win and pull me back in when I'm officially checked out.
All right. Have a good Sunday.